Hey guys, this is Miguel here. This is the second episode of Latino Pride with Miguel. And on today's episode, I get to interview Mr. Merlo, Moises
Merlos.
Moises Merlo, and you are the principal of A.B. Miller High School,
That's
right?
correct.
Awesome. Yeah. So let's start off with where you from. Where are you from?
Well, I was born in El Salvador,
Yeah.
and I actually came to the United States when I was almost 11 years old.
Wow. Was that hard for you? Like, how many siblings did you have? It was a tough transition.
It was a bit of a tough transition. Actually, my parents moved out here way before I did, so I already had two siblings that were actually born here, and then my older brother and myself made the trek out here basically in the mid-'80s.
And why did your parents move out here?
Well, we were going through a major civil war back in El Salvador.
Wow.
So, and this is a conflict that started really in the mid-'70s. So they left the country because of that. And we lived out there with one of my grandparents, and then things didn't get any better, and they got actually they got worse. So eventually we decided to also come out here too.
So just to clarify, your parents moved over here because of the civil war that was happening.
That's
now,
right.
What was the dictatorship at the time? Pardon my history.
It was your basic, not necessarily a dictatorship, but it was just the government versus basically peasant-led guerrilla warfare, basically. And so it was basically the poor people versus the rich people. That's really what the Civil War was about during that time. So we, having lived in an area that was fairly rural, that's where a lot of the fighting took place. So my parents left because they were able to leave first, and then while all the paperwork was going for my older brother and myself, several years went by until, like I said, in the mid-'80s, we finally made it out here.
Now, was that difficult for you guys, that time when your parents weren't with you in El Salvador?
Probably more difficult for my older brother because he was a bit older. He
Right.
knew. For me, I was young. I think they left when I was maybe 2-3 years old.
Wow.
So, for me, living with my grandparents and seeing them and talking to them on the phone was just basically normal for me.
Right.
But of course, coming home, was a little bit different. Not just adjusting to a new country, but now a whole new family unit. Obviously, new friends. We moved to LA, so just the influence from all the other different cultures, your Asian cultures, your other Latin American cultures, your African American cultures. So yeah, it was definitely a big adjustment for us.
And so your relationship, your childhood, so did you see your parents a lot during your childhood, or was it more just living with your grandparents and your parents were in the U.S.? I take it, getting their life handled, or, creating a stable income or lifestyle?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right.
I think my parents traveled back to El Salvador maybe once during that time, while I was still living over there. The other times it was just communicating through letters.
Letters,
phone
wow,
calls.
that's so
different. Very old school. Yeah, yeah.
Very old school.
I remember, in 2nd, 3rd grade, writing letters to my parents, and they would write me back and things like that. So yeah, the communication was a little different. But once again, like you said, they were trying to establish themselves here, being immigrants.
Right,
That's
absolutely.
hard, being in a new country. They were also going through the same issues that we went through when we came. They were trying to learn the language, trying to establish, a home and so forth. So, and then I think they did a great job.
That's awesome, yeah, and I can totally live with that because my parents, they immigrated from Mexico too to, give me and my siblings a better life, which I'm truly grateful for. And how many siblings did you have growing up?
So there's 4 of us. So I have a younger brother and a younger sister, and I have an older brother. And mentioning the work that my parents did, you figure we all came here, not in the best way. We all arrived here illegally. My brother and I, we crossed the border illegally back in '84, and all 4 of us have college degrees.
Wow! Your parents must be so proud.
Oh, they are. Yeah.
That is awesome.
So my brother has a college degree. My youngest one actually has a master's as well.
Yeah.
And my sister has a bachelor's in graphic design. And of course, I went through education too, and I finished my doctorate a couple of years ago at USC. So we've done very well. Education was always emphasized in our home, so it worked out for us.
So tell me, what degrees did you get? Like, what was that?
So my original idea was to become a doctor. So I went through and majored in biology for a bachelor's, and then I switched out because I decided that I wanted to be a teacher. So I went and got a master's in curriculum instruction. And then at the same time, I decided, well, eventually maybe I'd like to go into administration. So I ended up getting a second master's in basically administration.
Mm-hmm.
And then about 5 years ago, I decided, you know what, let me go back to school and get my doctorate. So I actually ended up going back to school to USC, and I did my doctorate in urban leadership. So
wow.
A lot of degrees, but it's been worthwhile.
Yeah. And has there been any specific challenges you had to go through, or was it just difficult in general going from I want to be a doctor to I want to work in education?
You know, it really wasn't. When I was getting my bachelor's, I ran track and field, and played all kinds of sports through high school. A lot of my coaches were teachers. Right. And I stayed connected with them even through college, and even started coaching with them and then doing those kinds of things. So when I was in college, I needed a job. Well, you couldn't really get a job in a lab, especially out here in the Inland Empire. There's just not that much for us to do when it comes to biology. You have to go out. Mm-hmm. So my job, I actually became a tutor for this community school in San Bernardino called the PAL Center. And I actually worked there since pretty much my sophomore year in college, all the way through the time that I graduated. So throughout the whole time that I was trying to become a doctor, I was actually working in schools. And then I decided, I like this. This is what I want to do. And I switched over. So after I did my bachelor's, I decided to go into the credentialing program and get a credential. And I ended up teaching science. That's where I started my teaching career.
And this was 10 years ago, 5 years ago?
Oh, it was about 15 years ago.
15 years
15 years ago, yeah.
There's been this whole journey from you from doctor to realizing, I think education is my actual calling. And
that's right.
So you feel like education is your purpose?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I said,
right.
I come to school, I come to work every day, just excited.
Really?
Yeah, and I know my teachers notice that. I know, especially at the beginning of the school year, a lot of people are coming back, and especially the kids like, oh, back to school, where I'm excited. I get excited every year. I get excited every day. I can honestly say there has not been a day that I've come to work not wanting to come to work. I even tell people that if I were to win the lottery right now, I would still kind of work. I really would. I really enjoy it. It's just it was a great career move for me. I just love it. I love being here. I love working with the kids, working with the staff. It's great.
You know what? And I'm just so happy to hear that, because so far with the interviews I've had, every person, the same response, they love what they do.
Yeah.
And it makes such a huge difference. Mm-hmm. It makes a difference, I think, in your leadership style and how the people you lead feel, because I think if you don't feel it, they won't feel it.
They won't. You're right. And they see it. They really see it. So no, it's great. Like I said, I'm glad I made that choice.
Right. And so, to clarify, now this journey has brought you to being the principal of A.B. Miller High School. How did you become the principal of A.B. Miller High School?
So after I got my credential, I became a teacher, taught at the middle school and at the high school level. And then once I completed my master's in education administration, I started looking for jobs because I saw that that's where you had the most impact. Believe it or not, you're a little bit more.
What aspect do you have the most impact?
Well, you're making decisions. You're improving programs. I think running the school really helps you promote those programs that really help kids. Right. So I saw that even as a teacher, and I applied here at Fontana. There was an opening for an assistant principal, and I didn't even know what school. I just thought, well, let's try it. So I was actually hired as the assistant principal at Birch High School, which is one of our continuation high schools. Right. And I did that for 3 years. Then this school opened up, and this school at that time had a really, really bad reputation. They actually ended up bringing in an entire new administrative team. Wow. I was one of those individuals that was brought in. They brought in a new principal. I came in as an assistant principal, and I worked here as an assistant principal for 3 years. When that principal left for a district office job in a nearby district, then I was promoted to principal. So I just completed my 5th year as principal here at A.B. Miller.
And what shape was this high school in 5 years ago?
Well, 8 years ago it was in pretty bad shape.
8 years ago.
Luckily, I was able, as an AP, to get some of the work started to, change the school, change the culture. We were basically, if you looked at any of our measurements, dropout rates, we had the worst one in the district. Wow. When it came to, at that time it was CST scores, we were basically at the bottom as well. Suspension rates, we had the highest. I mean, so you name it, we were
You guys were at the very bottom.
We were at the very bottom.
And this was 8 years ago?
It was 8 years ago, and once again, over the last 8 years that we've been here, we've had very solid team of administrators here, and an even greater group of teachers that we've transformed the school to. We're actually at the top in a lot of the measurements. We're at the top of SBAC. We have one of the highest graduation rates. We have the lowest suspension rate. Just a lot of great things.
Here in the Fontana district?
Mm-hmm. Here in the Fontana district. And when you compare us to similar schools, especially nearby cities like the city of San Bernardino, Rialto, Bloomington, those types of cities, Colton, we're definitely at the top. So we've done, like I said, everything we've done here hasn't been because of me. It's because of the team effort that we work. The other administrators, even our classified staff, and of course our teaching staff. They're the heartbeat of this organization too. And I can't say enough about them and what they've done.
And just to clarify, you've been a part of this high school for 8 years?
8 years, that's right.
So you were here when you guys first started as a team building this high school back up.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you've seen the process from where it was to where it is now.
Exactly.
Now, how does it feel being a part of that process?
Like I said, it's one of the best feelings. It's probably what keeps me going as well.
Right.
The fact that I see that the work that we've done together as a team has made it better for the kids. So, like I said, every day I come to work excited because there's always something that we can tweak, something that we can improve on. And
there's no ceiling.
There's no ceiling. Exactly. There's no ceiling. Everything just up, and you can see the trends. Give you some numbers. When I got here 8 years ago, only 13% of our students were A through G eligible, which
what does that mean?
Basically A through G. Those are the requirements. Those are the courses that you need to complete with at least a C, just to be able to apply to a UC or a Cal State school.
Right.
So you can imagine that only 13% of your school or your kids actually have a shot at attending at a 4-year college. Now, some of them could have gone to private universities that have different requirements, but the likelihood is pretty slim. Last year, we got it up to about 39%. And this school year, where our senior class that just graduated, we're scheduled to be at around 42 or 43%. So, you go from 13% of your population being able to go to attend a 4-year university to now over 40%, and we're looking over the next few years to definitely being over 50, 60% and just keep improving it. So that's what I'm saying, that those are the numbers that I look at, because that's what we can see that it's improving the school, but the reality is it's helping our kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's giving a lot more of our kids a better chance at a future life.
Right.
So it's been great.
Yeah, and so you come to work, you love your job. What's the most challenging aspect of what you do?
My school is very diverse. I have kids who live in a garage. I have kids who live in a tiny apartment with 7, 8 individuals. I have other kids who live in a $600,000 home.
Yeah.
So my biggest challenge is to be able to serve every single kid and be able to help every single kid, because they all have their needs. Socioeconomics is just one. We have a population of special ed kids. We have a large population of language learners. So the challenging thing for me is being able to offer something for every single kid, and make sure that I take that kid, whether you live in a $600,000 home or in somebody's garage, and get you college ready. That kid who just came from Mexico or El Salvador or Korea or wherever, get that kid ready to be able to actually get into a 4-year university and have a better life. So that's the challenging part. But that's that's the beautiful part about what I do. That it has to be challenging. If not, then it's boring, and I probably don't want to do it. So making accessible, making everything in our educational system accessible to everyone is probably my biggest challenge.
And do you feel, I had a question, do you feel that is it more difficult being the person that makes all the big decisions? Because I feel like when you're a teacher, you do have a more specific impact. However, you're in charge and you're seeing the grand scheme of things. Is that more difficult?
It is, and a lot more responsibility. One of the things that I've learned going from being a teacher to an AP to now a principal is that every decision is critical. But once again, that's part of what I love. I love making decisions. I come here and I plan. I talk to other individuals, get ideas. once again, that's the beauty of being in leadership, that you get to make decisions. And yeah, it weighs on you because once again, every decision is critical. Believe it or not, even where you place a teacher in the classroom, how you approach a teacher, just the theme for the year, you're planning over the summer, you're planning over the last 6-7 months, you're planning over the last year. It's critical. Every decision is critical. But once again, that's what I love about this job.
And you briefly touched on leadership. Do you read any books on leadership by chance?
Oh yeah, yes, a ton. That's I have a really when it comes to education and I have a really growth mindset.
Right.
That I don't see myself as knowing everything.
Right.
I read books, I read articles. I can tell you that going through the doctorate program, I have probably read more than I've ever read, at any other point in my life, just because it's part of the curriculum, it's very rigorous. But I learn from everyone. I can sit here and have a conversation with you and get ideas from you on how to improve our programs. That's part of what we do, which I think is what's helped us here at A.B. Miller, because that same philosophy is what the other APs have, what the teachers have. We learn from each other. We work as a team. Everything is based on working together and making decisions that will benefit our kids. So yeah, it's always learning. You never stop learning.
I love that because that's what makes the difference between you growing and not growing. I think there's a point where people feel like I already know what I need to know, and that's not true.
It's not.
It's not, and you don't want to. I don't think you want to live that way because you don't get to enjoy life as much.
Exactly. Yeah, and actually, and I have bookshelves in here with books, but I actually have a huge library at home, and as a matter of fact, in my secretary's area, there's 2 cupboards that are just filled with my books, just because, so that way it's not as cluttered in here. But yeah, we're always reading articles all the time, even the newspaper.
Right.
We pull information out of the newspaper because there's always something in there, an idea, a resource, something that will make it better for our kids. And once again, that's my true goal, is to make it better for the kids that come to the school.
I love that. I love that it's about service. I love that you're helping others. I think it sounds like you're very fulfilled.
I am. Like I said, I wake up every morning just happy as I can be. Definitely.
Awesome. So, we spoke about your journey and your career. I mean, do you have kids by any chance? Do you have
3 beautiful kids. One is 15, another one 14, and my youngest one is 11 years old. And balancing life and family life and work life has been great too. But I also have a wife that is a stay-at-home wife, and she does more than, she works harder than I do. I can honestly say that. And it's been great. My kids are 4.0 students at their respective schools. They're involved with sports. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
But once again, that's always been a philosophy, not just for myself and my wife, but also her parents and my parents, that you do what you're supposed to do. You do great things, and you're going to achieve great things. So it's definitely great.
Happy to hear that. Having this conversation with you has been very inspiring, very fulfilling, because it's like I said, I enjoy hearing you talk about how much you enjoy what you do, and it gives me hope to find something that I wake up every day where I'm happy to do it every day.
So
thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. That if I can get every student here to realize that, doesn't matter what you choose, just choose something that you're going to be happy doing. That's the first thing. You're going to make your money one way or the other, but go to work every day just loving it. It goes a long way.
So, this is the part of the interview where I ask more silly questions.
Okay. Ask away.
Bear with me, sir, Mr. Merlos. What is your favorite food?
Oh my God, that's probably the hardest question. I can eat just about anything.
Right.
From my home country, pupusas are our staple. Love them.
So just for our audience knows, what are pupusas exactly?
So pupusas is basically a stuffed tortilla.
Okay.
And basically you stuff it with cheese, beans, and what we call chicharrón, which is a really, really bad meat. But it tastes so good.
That's pork, right?
It's pork, it's basically pork. It's probably the worst part of the pork, but it's great. So that's kind of like our staple food that you find a pupuseria just in about every corner if you go to El Salvador. I love Mexican food, from tacos to chile rellenos to enchiladas. Asian foods, of course. I can eat just about anything.
You know what? My family grew up eating Chinese food, and I got tired of it.
Oh, really?
I'm so tired of Chinese food. They ate it so much that if I eat Chinese food, don't tell me, and I'll eat it because it's in front of me. But if you ask me, I'm gonna say no.
Oh yeah, no, I'm a big foodie. Like I said, you put a pizza in front of me, it doesn't matter where it's from. So, and I always love trying new things too.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, there's a Korean barbecue place in Ontario that opened up, and I just took the kids there 2 weeks ago, and they're I don't know if we want to go here.
I thought it was amazing,
and they loved it. Oh yeah,
Korean barbecue is amazing.
Oh yeah, they basically now they want to go there all the time. So I love trying new stuff too.
Korean barbecue is like really good for the family. You cook it together.
Oh yeah, and you're doing it right there on the table. It was a great experience. So. Yeah, like I said, I would much rather go to a little hole in the wall, ethnic foods, doesn't matter what type of ethnic food, and just try it. And I usually come out just
pretty satisfied. Yeah. And so that's your favorite food. Do you have any movies you can watch over and over again?
Oh my God! So I love the action movies. Saving Private Ryan is probably my favorite.
That's
one
of my favorite
movie.
Oh my God!
Some of the suspense. I like the suspense movies that actually have a story behind it, like Silence of the Lambs would be a perfect example.
A good movie.
Great movie. Lately, which I've never been a big superhero fan, even as a kid, I wasn't. I would watch the cartoons kind of thing. But I love seeing like the new Transformers.
Are you going to say the new one coming out this week?
It's
this week.
Actually, I think it starts today. I believe the new one. Yeah. It may be just because now I have kids too, that the kids, my kids love that kind of stuff. So probably today or tomorrow we'll probably go out there and watch a movie together, and so have a great time. But
have you seen Wonder Woman by any chance?
No, I have not.
You gotta watch that. That's a good movie.
I heard it's a really good movie, and that's kind of where we're headed. So we do movies. We do all kinds of stuff, but. Between my suspense movie and my action movies, I can sit there and watch just about anything as well.
That's awesome.
And comedies too. I love comedy.
Yeah. Which comedies?
So I love the silly comedies. So back in the days when I was a kid, movies like Airplane, for example, and even in the early or late 80s, early 90s with the Naked Gun movies.
I gotta watch them. I haven't seen those.
Oh my God, they're just stupidly silly. There's Something About Mary. Those types of movies.
That's a classic,
So movies like that are they're silly, but they're just funny. I love the comedians too. Chris Tucker, Dave Chappelle. Whenever I get a chance to go see them, I definitely go see them.
Oh, you seen Dave Chappelle?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
How was that?
That was great. It was great.
Oh man.
So luckily here in Ontario we have the Improv. So you have some big names. Carlos Macia was there. He's local.
Yeah, he's pretty funny.
So Tommy Davidson, like I said, I've seen just about some of the major ones. I still want to see Eddie Murphy.
Oh, me too.
I didn't get a chance to see him when he was doing it, but I heard he may be coming back out of retirement from stand-up. So
really,
I love that stuff.
Right,
so I keep myself entertained.
One final question: is there any quote you live by any chance, or any phrase that motivates you?
It's funny because. So Martin Luther King, in one of his famous speeches, said about treating people not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
Right.
And it's so funny that when I was growing up as a little kid, my grandfather, who, once again, this is a very rural place, I doubt he knew who Martin Luther King was. That's basically what he instilled in me as a kid.
Wow.
Treat people for who they are. So if I live by something, it may be that, which is maybe why I can work with other people. It doesn't matter your race, doesn't matter your religion, doesn't matter your
color. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's just get to know people. There's high character people in just about every label, and there's low character people in just about every label.
Yeah,
so
very true.
If there's one thing I live is that just treat people by, the content of their character, and not just by the outside labels that we tend to put on people.
Well, Mr. Merlo, it was an absolute pleasure interviewing you.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Love this.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, and good luck.
I appreciate
like I said, we'll definitely, we like you to stay connected with our school.
Of course, I'd love to.
Like I told you, we have a great TV production group, and I'd like to show you around, and anytime you need a studio, that's basically what we have here.
Oh, wow, thank you. I really appreciate it. So, this concludes episode 2 of Latino Pride with Miguel. On this episode, we had Mr. Moises Merlo. Great guy. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to this channel and click on the links below to subscribe to our other social media, Instagram, Snapchat, all that good stuff. Thank you guys. Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you.
Awesome.
All right.
Yeah, that was great.
Thank you.